A man named Eli Wiesel, who's a Holocaust survivor, is famous for saying that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. When I was in junior high, I think it was about that age, I had a craving for Jell-O one day. So I took a packet out of the cabinet and mixed it up. I thought I followed the directions, but I'd never made Jell-O before. And I stuck it in the fridge. After hours and hours, it never set up. And I was reminded of that story when I was reading through the parable of the bags of gold, which is a parable about a wealthy man who gives 5 bags of gold to one man and 2 bags of gold to a second man and 1 bag of gold to a third man. And the first guy, he gets, he invests it and gets 5 more bags of gold. And the second guy also invests it and gets 2 more bags. They both double what they were given by this wealthy and generous man. But the third man, he goes and he buries the 1 bag of gold that he was given. And the wealthy man, when he realizes, when he comes back and realizes that these men have done well, these first 2 men, he praises them and says, "Celebrate with me." But the third man, he calls him wicked and lazy. When I think back to my Jell-O failure, I admit I don't have any idea what I did wrong, and that's because I never tried again. In part because I don't like to fail. It's not my favorite. But also I can't help but wonder that if I did make it again, I would realize it was some silly step that I didn't do that would make me feel dumb. I don't know. Either way, you won't see me bring any kind of Jell-O related item to a church event. I have made my peace with the fact that Jell-O is not my thing. But how silly of me not to try again, right? We learn by trying and failing and trying again. And this third man, though he didn't squander the gold he was given, he also didn't try. And because of this, I can't help but wonder if it's because he simply didn't care. A man named Eli Wiesel, who's a Holocaust survivor, is famous for saying that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. There are 2 things that we are failing to love if we don't use the good and generous gifts that God has given us. First, it's failing to love God. We've become indifferent to Him if these gifts are something that we hoard or hide or ignore altogether. And second, we're failing to love this world as God has called us to love this world. To me, that sounds like the opposite of passionately pursuing Jesus and sacrificially serving our neighbor, doesn't it? Like, that's the vision that we have in our church, to do those 2 things. Each gift of God has a purpose, and we are intended not just to change ourselves, but to use those gifts to change the world. And yet apathy can get in the way. Indifference, like this third man showed, is a very big obstacle for us sharing in the Master's happiness, where he says, "Come celebrate with me," to the first 2 men. It's also a very big obstacle to living as God has called us to live. So my question is, in what ways might I be apathetic? Might we be apathetic towards our neighbor, towards the world? In what ways might we find ourselves not caring where perhaps we should? The followers of Jesus have a responsibility to use their gifts. But more than that, the central message of this parable is faithfulness, because the master is faithful to his servants. And the servant who isn't faithful, the parable says, is cast out into the darkness. But not after being given an opportunity to overcome his indifference to change the world. So it's my prayer, it's my hope that God's love for us will overcome our apathy so that we love him and we love our neighbors as much as we love ourselves.